Do you struggle with getting the clients that you know that you are deserving of? Do you struggle with getting the number of clients, or maybe you're just not getting enough clients? Does that sound like you? Does that sound like a problem that you're struggling with as well? If it is, I want you to stay tuned because in this podcast episode, I am going to teach you how to get your next 100 clients. This is going to be, I think, kind of a fun episode. It's going to be a very applicable episode. I'm going to give you a roadmap to getting your first 100 clients. Stay tuned. Everybody, welcome back to the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. My name is Charles Specht. I am your host, and I am glad that you are listening today. Thank you for the opportunity to let me just sort of pour into you. I just really appreciate you all as listeners. And you know what? Thanks for listening. Thanks for commenting. If you haven't yet subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you haven't yet left a review, I'd love if you could leave a 5-star review. That'd be great. It helps just to get the word out. And I really want to be able to help as many insurance agents as we possibly can. So if that is something that you can do, I would really appreciate that. But now back to the topic at hand. The topic at hand is how to get your next 100 clients or your first 100 clients if you haven't gotten any clients yet. Because here's the thing is I want to just take this whole pressure off your shoulders, right? Off your shoulders. You know what? There is just pressure being in the sales industry and being an insurance producer, whether you're doing property casualty or whether you're doing EB, when you're out there selling, there is this constant nagging in your own mind. There is this constant pressure on your own shoulders that you have to produce, you have to win, you have to prospect, you have to set more appointments, you got to get more opportunities, you got to win more clients. More people have to choose you than somebody else. And this is a struggle. This is a challenge. That is draining. And so what I want to do is I just want to take that pressure for a moment. Just take that pressure of I have to do better. I have to do more. I got to get this thing figured out. Just take that weight for a minute, take it off your shoulders and put it off to the side. If you want, you can put that weight back on when we're finished here, but I have a feeling that some of the things we're going to go through is either going to get rid of that weight altogether or it's going to get rid of a lot of the pain. Because what I want to talk to you about is just finding your 100. Finding your 100. Here's the thing. You are one of many, several tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of insurance agents out there around planet Earth. And there are hundreds of thousands, millions of businesses and business owners that would potentially be a prospect of yours. But the thing is that you are in no need of getting tens of thousands of clients. I'm not saying that wouldn't be a great thing to have. I'm just saying that it ain't going to happen. And so you don't have to worry about it being a problem for you because you're not going to get that many clients. You can't service that many clients. You can't meet with that many clients. You can't renew that many clients. I want you to find your 100. I want you to find your best 100. I want you to find the most profitable 100. I want you to find the 100 that are paying the most amount of commission that want to do business with you. I want you just to find 100 businesses out there who want to do business with you. You know, one of the wonderful things that sort of alleviates a lot of the pain and frustration off my own shoulders is the realization that you don't have to be the best choice out there. You just have to be the best choice to that person in that moment. And frankly, selling insurance, that really does take a lot of the load off. Because if the insured has already got an agent, you come in and you're prospecting them. If they decide to meet with you, then it's you versus that next guy or that next gal. If they bring in a third one, well, then it's just you and against two others. And you know what? Frankly, that's a place where you can play ball. That is a place where you can win. That is a place where you can actually have a lot of success if you can get better at positioning yourself. And so first, I just want you to realize that you don't have to stress out about getting thousands and thousands of clients. You just got to get to your 100 as quickly as you possibly can. And so we got to figure out what are the 100. We got to figure out things like the micro niche. We got to figure out the things like the size of the accounts that you're going to go after. Absolutely. Those are all things that we work through. I work through that with every single one of my clients. Insurance agents need to figure that out, because if you don't, you're in the drift. You're throwing mud against the wall to see what sticks, and that's not a very good way in which to run your business. That is not being proactive. That's being reactive, or frankly, just not active at all. And that is not a very good recipe for success. And so we do require some planning. We do require sitting down and actually figuring out what is the process. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, Step 4, and so forth. Because if you don't take the time to figure out a process, you're probably not going to have really good results. In fact, I would suspect that you will lose more often than you win. You will lose a lot more often than you win. The insurance agent who has a process or systems is the one who rules the day. Let me say it again. The insurance agent who has a process or a system is the one who rules the day. So just understand right now that you don't have to rush to get 10,000 clients, 1,000 clients, whatever. You're probably not even going to get your 100 in the first year. You're probably only going to get maybe a percentage of that 100, but whatever it is, we're working towards that 100. But I would tell you, maybe 100 is not even your number. Maybe 50 is more like your number. Maybe all you want really for your clients and your book of business is 50 clients. 50 clients at $10,000 of commission each puts you at a $500,000 book of business. You know, depending upon where you live, your commission split, if you're an agency owner, all of that might be absolutely perfect. You would be making more money than the average doctor. But maybe you're looking at 50 accounts at $20,000 of commission each. That puts you at $1 million. If you want 30 grand each, that puts you at $1.5 million of your book. See, the choice is you get a chance to build what you want. I want to ask you a question. What are you building? What are you building right now? What types of accounts are you going after? What size of the accounts? What geographic territory are you going after? What are the problems that they deal with? What are the solutions that you're offering? All of that. You know what? If we can put together the process, the systems, you're going to get to your 100 a whole lot quicker. And I actually don't think that getting 100 clients, and again, I'm not saying you want to get 100 clients. I'm not even saying you want to get 50 clients, but I do think you could get 50 clients in 1 year. That's no problem. I don't think that would be too far outside the realm of possibility. I think that is very possible. A lot of things are going to have to happen in order for that to make sense, in order for it to happen. But let's say, for example, that you're trying to get to your 100 clients. You're trying to get to clients maybe that are 100 different clients that are, say, going to average about $15,000 of commission each. $15,000 of commission each. That'll put you at a book of business at $1.5 million of annualized commission. Now, is it really hard to find 100 different accounts out there that are paying $15,000 of total commission, all their policies combined? No, that's not hard at all. The hard part is finding the right 100, and the hard part is about actually doing the work, because nobody just trips and falls into 100 different clients. You don't find 100 clients in the drift. You got to actually be proactive, and you got to create your systems and your processes in order to get to that point, both as an individual producer and certainly as an agency leader. But how are you going to get to those 100? Okay, so we're going to talk about a few different things here. First, I just want to talk about the drift. I want to talk about the drift. Maybe you're right now in a sales drift, and if you're in a sales drift, I've got some bad news and I've got some really good news. Okay, the sales drift is kind of like when you're on a sort of a meandering river, you're on a fast river, whatever it is, you're in a boat, you're in a raft, and you're not paddling, you're just going with the flow. And the flow is going to take you wherever it goes. The problem, however, is that the flow is going to take you to the rapids real soon, and then you're going to end up falling off the waterfall. And you're going to be in some serious problem, right? That happens from a business perspective as well. If we are not active and proactive and making sure that we're not just going with the drift, but that we're going and paddling where we want to go, then we're going to get caught up and end up going over the edge, and we don't want that. And so we have to be proactive. Don't fall into the drift. How do you know whether or not you're in the drift? You're in the drift if you're not really prospecting, if you're just sort of winging it. If you're just winging it in your sales process, then please understand you're in the sales drift. You're just sort of moving with the flow. You prospect when you feel like it. You just sort of show up and you don't really have any set questions in which to say to somebody. You don't have any way in which to find the problems. You don't really have a targeted list of accounts that you're calling on. Haven't really thought through even what types of accounts you want to call on. You have no defined micro niche that you're focusing on. You've never put together a 12-month timeline of services. I'm just telling you, you're in the drift. You're in the drift. And the drift will get you places. It's just not going to get you to the place you want. And that's the problem. That's the problem. The drift will get you going. You'll get through your day. It's just not going to be the kind of day or days that you want. Now, that's the bad news. The good news is that, look, I can help you start paddling right now, and we get you out of the drift. And we can get you exactly where you want to go. We can do and accomplish everything that you want to accomplish. You just have to make the first decision no longer to be stuck in the drift. Because you can't trip and fall over 100 different accounts at 15 grand a commission each if you're just drifting along and prospecting when you feel like it. That doesn't work. So we got to be better than that. You are better than that. You can do and accomplish much more than just that. Let your competitors, let the other guy down the street, let the other incumbent agent be someone who's stuck in the drift, but not you. Not you. You're better than that. And so we want to be able to get out of that as quickly as we possibly can. You might be stuck in the drift right now. That's okay. Then let's just make this a wake-up call. Let's just make this the moment that you're no longer stuck in the drift. Is there any reason why you can't do that? Nope. You can get out of it right now. At this very moment, you don't have to be stuck in that drift anymore. It, frankly, is a mindset. You just have to decide, I'm not going to be stuck any longer. And so what do? When you don't want to be stuck, you just got to get out. Paddle yourself out. How do you paddle yourself out? We get intentional about creating a system. Intentionality will get you out of the drift. Those of you on the audio podcast, you can't see it, but those of you who are watching even right now on YouTube, and by the way, I do have a YouTube page. It's Permission Sales by Charles Specht. Go ahead and watch it. But I am showing right now a copy of the Permission Sales Framework to all the people so that they can see exactly what it is that we are talking about here. The Permission Sales Framework is a process that is a step-by-step plan that gets you out of the drift and gets you your 100 clients as quickly as possible. But it starts with a determination. Are you willing to do the work? Yes or no? You answer that right now. Are you willing to do the work? Yes or no? Yes or no? Which one? If the answer is no, please hang up, turn this off. I don't know. There's no reason here to listen. But if the answer is yes, then I have good news. You can get out of the drift and create the system. But you have to just kind of make a decision. You're not going to go small anymore. Small is not going to be what you're going for. You are going to go bigger, larger. You're going to have greater ideas, greater focus. You want to actually accomplish something. Great. This is for you. The drift is not for you. Get out of the drift. You got to have that intentionality, that decision, and so forth. That's the place we start. The place we start is just making that decision. Now remember, we took all that pain, we took all that guilt, we took all of that discomfort, we took all that pressure off our shoulders, we moved it off to the side. Remember, you just have to get your 100, okay? You got to get your 100. And let me just tell you this. There is no size commission account that is the ideal size. What is the ideal size for you and your agency and your geographic territory. Those three things are the important thing. You, your agency, and your geographic territory. Those are the things that are going to dictate it. By geographic territory, I mean, for example, if you're in Los Angeles, you got to have a certain amount of money to live. If you are, for example, maybe in like northern Illinois or southern Illinois or in Idaho or somewhere else like that you don't need to make as much money to have a very comfortable living. But I just want you to decide, what is it you're going to go after? Decide. For the sake of this example, I'm just saying $15,000 of commission for the total account. Doesn't matter if you're even going after property and casualty or if you're going after EB. $15,000 of commission is not much. I mean, think about it. Even from a property and casualty standpoint, how many different policies can you sell to a prospect? There's general liability, property, inland marine, there's auto, there's excess, workers' compensation. You might even sell cyber liability, D&O, EPLI. There's a lot of different policies. Getting to $15,000 of commission is not difficult. The same, frankly, goes for health benefit side. There's a lot of different policies when you're talking about all the things you can do from health, life, medical, dental, and so forth, vision. There's just a lot of different policies, plans that can be put into place to get to that amount. 15,000. There are so many accounts where you live that are that size. And there are so many accounts around the areas where you live, as well as you can write this stuff remote. You don't have to be local. You can give them a call. You can send them an email. You can do this over Zoom, over Teams, whatever. You can do this. You don't have to be face to face. People can trust you. You don't have to be right in front of them to trust you. I think it's helpful. It's a lot easier if you're right there, but you don't have to be. But I just want you to understand that there are so many accounts, thousands and thousands and thousands of accounts that are in your geographic territory that are even at $15,000 of total commission. What's stopping you from getting those 100 accounts? I tell you, there's basically two things that are stopping you: intention and systems. Intention and systems. You either have an intent to actually prospect, to set appointments, and to win business, or you don't. You either have a system, a sales system in place to help you get other people fired and you hired, win business, or you don't. So it comes down to basically two things: intent and systems. Intent is something I can't help you with. You have to decide if you are going to go after it or not. There can be a lot of insurance agents out there who need a lot of help, but if they don't want to be helped, I can't help them. Sorry. I don't have any magic fairy dust to just sprinkle on people and suddenly make them just desiring something better for themselves. That is something they have to do. But I'll tell you this: if I'm working with an insurance agent who has intent, who has a desire to actually want to scale up, to level up, to 12x their life and their book of business, I'm telling you, we're going to make things happen. We're going to cook. We're going to get some deals done. We're going to win some business. You're going to be very happy with how this all works out. But we got to create a system, a process. So let's just even say it from this perspective. Let's say 100 accounts is too many for you to get in a year. Okay? I agree. That's a lot. I think you can do it. I'm just saying it is a lot. You're going to have a process and a team that helps you with that, but I definitely think you can get 100 accounts in a year. That's no problem. But let's say, for sake of example, that we're going to do this in a 3-year period. 3 years. So basically, all you have to get are 33 clients in a year. Now, you might be saying, Charles, that's still a lot. I get it. It is a lot. But I myself got 35 clients in my first year. I know of a lot of agents that do a lot of different types of industries where they're getting 30, 40 clients in a year. It's not a problem. You can get that many clients, but you're certainly not going to get it if you're drifting. You're going to have to stay focused, consistent, intentional, and not be in the drift. But you absolutely can do 33 clients in a year. Absolutely. But you might be looking and say, Charles, I've never done that before. Yeah, because maybe you didn't have intention or systems. Which one? Maybe you didn't have intention or systems. Which one? Maybe you had the intention, but it doesn't matter. If your wheels are spinning, you can have a great motor in the car and the wheels are spinning, but if you don't have any wheels that can stick and get traction, you're not going anywhere. So you got to have a plan. You got to have that intent. You got to have the systems in order to get you from A to B as quickly as possible. But again, we're not talking about huge, enormous, ginormous accounts. We're just talking about accounts that are $15,000 of commission every single year. That's not too much. Now, I'm pulling out my little trusty calculator because I'm just not that smart. And so if I got 33 accounts at $15,000 of revenue each, boom, that puts us at $495,000. $495,000 of new business commission in 1 year. Can you do that? Can you do that? I have clients who've done that. Absolutely. There's no reason why you can't do that. You might say, Charles, I've never done that. I know. Intent and systems. You say, Charles, we've never had anybody do that at our agency. I know. Intent and systems. Intent, what size of account you're going to go after. Well, if you're only going to go after accounts that are like $3,000 of commission, yeah, I mean, it's going to be really hard to get to that number, right? It's going to be really hard to get to that number. But if you're going after accounts that are $30,000 of commission, then you don't even have to get 33 accounts in the year. You only have to get 16 or 17 after all said and done to get to that number. So again, the size of the account is part of the system we're putting into place. It's the intent that we're going after and the systems we're putting into place. But I'm just using, for the sake of example, 15,000 because I feel there are a lot of those accounts. You have to create a system. The system is where I love to play. That's my sandbox. I love to play in the system. I love to see the method. I love to be methodical as we're going through the approach, because I focus in on my permission sales framework, which is 5 different points about where we are focusing. And it's all about figuring out the types of accounts to go after, our messaging, what are you going to say, how do you uncover the problems, how do you create solutions, the services you put together, your 12-month timeline of services, how do you decide or help the insured to decide to no longer do business with their current agent, to ask for the business even by a signed broker of record letter, or go through a quoting process and then get awarded the business. It is an intentionality. It is intention. It is a system that is put into place, and when you follow the system, good things happen. Again, as I said earlier, I don't have any magic fairy dust to put on people if they don't have intention. But I'll tell you what, I truly believe that my permission sales framework is magic fairy dust for those who are already past the point where they've already got intention. Now they just want to make a system and make it happen. Absolutely. I feel like I've got the magic fairy dust. I've got the juice. I feel like I've got something that actually works. Why? For a few different reasons. I did it myself for 10 years as a producer, but more importantly, I feel like even the last 13 years as I've been working with insurance buyers, I understand what they're looking for. I understand what they need. I understand how they're trying to figure out what insurance agent to work with. And then I understand the differences between a good agent, a mediocre agent, and a great agent who's 12Xing and going after $1 million book of business. And I can see the differences, and I can see how to put it all together with your unique and individual strengths and weaknesses. And we build a system that works for you based upon your strengths and not your weaknesses. I can see it. Magic fairy dust? Well, I kind of like to think of it that way. But you got to have the intent. You got to put together the systems. And when you have it, it is frankly amazing what happens when you do it. Now, a couple of things. Doing it, putting the process together, it's not that difficult. It really isn't. It's not that difficult. It can be a difficult challenge to start to figure it out, but actually putting it all together isn't a challenge. It's the decision-making process as we're going through it, making decisions on what's going to be the best and what's not. And then we are definitely open to the word pivot. We pivot when we're not getting the results that we want, and we pivot to a different direction until we get the magic fairy dust, and then we're moving on to the next step. But it builds. The permission sales framework builds on top of itself. It's 5 parts from the very beginning, the alpha, to the very omega of being awarded the business after you ask for it. Intent, systems, staying out of the drift, creating a building block program process that works for you. Absolutely, these things are necessary. These things are essential. But remember, just trying to get 100 accounts at 15 grand of commission each, that puts you at $1.5 million of commission. You say, Charles, I don't need 1.5 million. Well, then what do you need? If you want $1 million book of business, then we're talking 100 accounts at $10,000 of commission. Or maybe you only want 50 accounts at $20,000. Well, maybe you say my book, I'd be really happy with a $500,000 book. Then back into it. You get a chance to back into it based upon how many accounts and what size of accounts you want. You don't have to stress about this. Take the stress off, throw the stress off, and go after what you can accomplish today. Can I give you even a bit of an example of what I'm talking about here? It's interesting when I talk to insurance agents who tell me what they're doing for prospecting every week, Because one thing, I know that insurance agents inflate the numbers they give me, right? I know that's the case. It's not that they're trying to lie. It's that usually people overestimate how much they think they're doing rather than what they are actually doing. But let's say, just for sake of example, that you could do, say, 10 different cold calls, just call on 10 accounts every day, okay? For 5 days out of the week. If you multiply that by 52 weeks, that's 2,600 different businesses you could call on. If you just did 10 phone calls, 10 different businesses every single day over the course of the year, that means you will call on 2,600 different businesses. How many of those businesses do you think are going to give you their business? How many will sign over the insurance to you by broker of record letter? How many of them will give you the nod, give you the A-OK, sign your bind order if you go through the quoting process? A lot. And all I'm talking is consistent intentionality. And I'm just using an example of 10 calls a day. That's only 50 in a week. What if you did 100 in a week? Then basically we're talking about 5,200 different businesses you could be calling on in a year. Not even including things like networking events, email, social media, walk-in visits, and so forth. See, you need to just realize that if you have the intentionality of dominating your space and doing everything you can in order to place yourself in a good position to be awarded the business, then good things are going to happen. The problem, though, is that we continue to look at things in the moment and not in the long haul. I want you to look in the long haul. I want you to look in the long run, down the river. I want you to see the destination, not just where you're at right now. Because where you're at right now is the struggle. Where you're at right now is you're seeing how things are happening on a call-to-call basis. Forget that. Don't be weak. Don't be weak. Don't be frail. Get over the rejection. Get over yourself. Get past the call reluctance. You okay? You're a big boy. You're a big girl. You can get past it. People are going to reject you. Don't worry about it. It's not you. It's them. It's the moment. It's the time. They're dealing with something themselves. So we can always call them back later. Don't worry about it. Just go through the process. But just remember that we're not trying to get all of our accounts in one day. You got 365 days in this year. 365 days in this year. And if you're making calls, just 10 calls a day in an 8-hour work week, 8-hour work day over the course of 5 days in a work week, you're going to make a lot of appointments. Now, how do we position ourselves so that we can get awarded the business? It's a different question, isn't it? It comes down to systems, 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 systems. That's what I do. I help people put together the system that works for them. It's different for everybody. I do this both for agencies, and I do it through their entire sales process, and I do it with individual agents. I'd love to have a chance to talk with you. If you feel like you can get your 100, but you're just not sure how to get there, reach out. You can be a part of my mastermind, or you can simply look at it from a one-on-one coaching perspective. But I also have digital courses, if that's a way in which to help you as well. But at the end of the day, 2 things. Remember those 2 things. Intention, systems. Intention, systems. Where are you at right now? And how close are you to getting your 100? My name is Charles Specht. I am the president and CEO and chief sales officer of Permission Sales, where I teach and train insurance agents just like you how to build a $1 million or more book of business. This is the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast.